Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again. Thanks for being here. My name is Dan, and here to tell you a little story today. And before I continue, please hit that subscribe button and maybe hit the like button if you like the video. That would really help me. But it would really help me if you hit the subscribe button. So hopefully I can tell you something interesting enough you find you might want to come back. Well, we got more of the Golden Ship story to tell. But boy, there's an awful lot to that one. It's been going on for 40 years of my life practically now. Well, 40 years if you count the time I put into my college film about it. That's really where I started the idea. Now, the idea for the film that I was making was I conceived of an idea about making a film about a filmmaker who makes a film to create a vision of paradise coming to the world. So that was my whole objective when I went out to. I lived in grew up in New Jersey and lived in New York, and when I went to New York in college to Ithaca College, graduated in 1985. Well, there were only a class of 10 or 11 students in my film class. That was pretty amazing. We had a really small, well-educated class under the guidance of Skip Landon and Patricia Zimmerman, Frank Tomasulo, Pete Kling, Danny Guthrie, and there was one other photographer professor, but I didn't have him. I had Danny Guthrie, and I really liked what I learned in his class. I've been able to use it for my whole life. And also all my film classes were super. And the funny thing about it is, well, when I graduated to college in 1985, there was no YouTube, obviously, you know that. And there was no way to show any kind of film work that you would do. There was no films, there was no video then, basically. Video came out a couple of years after I graduated to be more popular, but there was no real way to show a movie that one person shot unless you got some kind of lucky and showed it somewhere that bought it from you. But now with YouTube, that made everything about creating media more democratic, so everyone could do it. So that's one of the reasons why it took so long. And then another reason why, well, I had constraints on me after I came back from Hawaii. You know, when I came back from Hawaii and, they had, back home realized I was thinking these extraordinary thoughts because I had written some postcards describing such a scene as me coming back on the Golden Ship on the clouds and the glory of the musical angels. And turns out people thought I was suicidal or something at the time. How else was I going to get with the angels? So they said I was either suicidal or on drugs, and I had to come back and be put into a mental hospital and evaluated. Well, that's what happened to me. Stayed in the hospital for about 6 weeks before I could get out. And I was trying it enough. For crying out loud, and here I am out on beautiful beaches in Maui, and all of a sudden I'm back in New Jersey in a psychiatric clinic. Gee, that wasn't fun at all. I wanted to escape back to Maui. Well, more about the Golden Ship then. That's so you'll think, how did the Golden Ship come about? Like, how did I ever come to be aware of it or come to see it? Did it just pop out in the middle of nothing and then I just thought of it? No, that's not how it happened. I had been slowly building up consciousness of the Golden Ship even when I was back in California. Like, the first thing that appeared in California, well, there was the beginning of the screenplay that I was writing, and then I had drawn some pictures about my state of mind, what I was doing and everything when I was out in California, and one of the pictures in California had scenes that had images that were kind of like I was on a beach with a mountain there, and that fit perfectly to McKenna Beach on Maui because the crater was there. And in that picture, I was lying on a inclined couch with an angel, a green angel figure over me. And then, well, it was from one of those images in the pictures that I drew. The one had a ship on it, and the ship was coming out of the projector and in the air. So, and then I wrote and then I used that picture, I drew that picture on a little postcard, or on a little photograph that the sky was whited out, and I drew the picture that I had drawn in California on that white part. Then I wrote a poem on it, and the poem was a card I was going to send to Madonna. You know, I really was in love with her so much, and then so I wrote a postcard to her. Well, a postcard that I made, and so this is what the postcard said. It said, "Dear Madonna, do you hear you are of springtime fig leaves set forth, medium mother? How you gonna rule the world? It's gotta be strong to claim your title, and surely of the divine, though still without a sun to stand on the bow, and sail through the mighty cracking of time." And I signed it, "Love, Danny Boy." I have no idea if she ever got it. It was probably lost in the mail, thrown away, discarded. But I did make a Xerox copy of it before I sent it off, so I have it in my little folder of things I was including in to be part of my film. Well, and then I made 15 posts. Well, then I sent that out. Oh, I remember the time I sent that out just a couple days later. Then there were Coast Guards off the McKenna Beach. I was like, oh Jesus, I don't know if they're coming for me or not, but it was kind of scary. They sat right off the beach where I was. And there were planes flying right over my campsite. You know, from the military. I was like, and then one time I was talking to this guy up on the crater, and another helicopter comes and circles 20 feet above our heads. What is it doing there? So I'm thinking, oh my God, maybe they're trying to get me or something. I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know if anyone was doing it or if I was imagining it in my head. It was quite an experience to go through. Well, I tried telling my friends at the beach about it. They say, oh, it's all in your head. There's no golden ship. That's a fantasy. That's all in your head. You're just seeing things. Well, I saw the golden ship fly up into the sky, and then I know I'm not the only one who saw it, because the guy down the beach yelled out at the same time that it flew out. He yelled out, "Hey everybody, did you see that spaceship?" Yelled out, "Yo dude, that's my ship." And then I went running down the beach to go up the crater and wait for it. Well, didn't come. And I took many more trips up the crater at night, staying overnight on top of the crater, waiting for my golden ship. Never came in. Never came in. So I didn't know if I was losing my mind, or I just figured I had to wait a little longer, because I knew there was really a golden ship, but nobody else did. Except that one other guy that saw it. He knows. I never met the guy, never talked to the guy afterwards. I don't know what happened to him. But somewhere out there, who was on McKenna Beach in probably the month of February or March 1987, saw that golden ship along with me. So, maybe he'll surface sometime. Well, That's what that happened. Well, then came the long journey of me trying to inform people about the golden ship, because at that time I was saying to myself, well, gee, how's the golden ship gonna come to this earth if nobody knows about it? No one will know where it came from or what's up with it. So I said to myself, okay, I'll have to send out some postcards to tell my friends that there's a golden ship. So I sent out 15 of them, five a week for 3 weeks. And then, well, nothing happened. I send them out, no golden ship comes. I'm still going up the crater, waiting for the darn thing, and sleeping up there and waking up with a headache because I really wanted to go on that golden ship. I really wanted to get off the earth and go up there, but I couldn't, and that was kind of disappointing. I was all ready for it. Well, I had to get used to disappointments. It seems like my life has been filled with nothing but a lot of disappointments. Things I think are going to happen that never do. Well, I guess that's the way I'm made. I'll have to live with it. Well, so I kept still persistent in believing it. Nothing was going to shake my belief in the golden ship. Not a damn thing was going to shake it, because I saw it with my own 2 eyes. So I continued going along that springtime and going up that winter and springtime, about going up the crater. I would go up there almost every night and wait for the golden ship and pray and, put my hands together and sleep up there and call upon the golden ship, but nothing to be seen. Not after that first 1.5, 2-second flight into the sky, and then it disappeared, and then nothing. So I was left on my own, all to think about that golden ship that I had seen, and try and communicate it to the population of the world. I guess I was the only one who's seen it. Probably no one ever since seen it, but people may have seen it, but not really know what it is. Because a couple months later, I had a friend who was living up on the side of the crater with his wife, looking out at the Pacific Ocean. They lived in a little lean-to on the mountain, a little makeshift hut kind of thing. I used to go up there with him and hang out with him and his wife. And there was one time there where we sat, and what did we know but a light comes out of the sky, just kind of like appeared in the sky out in the distance, and then slowly crept closer towards us, so it got larger and larger. And then we were like, wow, is that the golden ship? And then it would back out and go back out further distance to us and fade away. So I don't know what it was. I think it was the golden ship. But I saw it once clearly fly, boom, out into the sky. You don't have to blame me, I'm just saying. Whatever he can handle, he can handle. Some things he can't handle, he can't handle. Need more proof. Well, if the faith I've had about the reality of the golden ship, that it does exist, and if I've been able to keep believing it for this long of a time, almost 40 years, and all the difficulties I've had to go through with it, because no one believed it, and then not many people wanted to even hear about the golden ship. They would tell me to shut up or walk away. I was kind of disappointed. I was left there all by myself. Now my family was told by the doctors, if I ever tried to talk about the golden ship, not to let me. talk about it. The only place I was able to talk about the Golden Ship was to the psychiatrist that I had to see. A number of them over the different years. For crying out loud, I was seeing psychiatrists for about over 10 years about the damn thing. Every week I'd have to go in there and explain myself. No one wanted to listen to me. They just said they had to put me on medicine so I'd stop thinking like that. Well, I never did stop thinking like that, even though I was on medicine. I don't know what the hell they thought my medicine was going to do. It did nothing but just give me a headache if I missed it. Still have to take the damn thing because I get too bad of a headache if I don't. Well, so then my family talked to me about it. They didn't want to hear anything about it. None of my friends from the time ever wanted to hear anything about it. When I got married, Kathy didn't want to hear about it. No one would let me talk about it. So I kept it to myself. And then YouTube came about, and gee, I still wasn't able to talk about it or bring it up in public. It was only till just shortly ago that I decided to have the courage to fend off any criticisms or claims that I'm nuts, to be able to talk about it. So, if there's one golden ship out there, there's a whole lot of others, because I remembered when I had my infamous night taken away from my body and on some long-lasting adventure, because I remembered after when I woke up that night, it wasn't like I remembered it instantly. I didn't know anything about it. It was only about a month later that I had the vision of it, that I talked about it. I had the vision of standing on the Golden Ship. And it's from the vision that I had standing on the Golden Ship where I closed my eyes at night. I was at the campsite about to get in my tent. I closed my eyes and saw myself, like I could see closed eyes, but I could see myself and before me, and I was standing on the bow of an ornately sculpted golden ship, and there were horses all dressed in gemstone jewel broderie in front of me. Maybe, I realized these 6 horses, and I was like, wow, that's something. And then when I had the vision, I yelled out, "Behold the vision!" Everyone else was sleeping. And I didn't know what it meant. I forgot about it the next day. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was weird. I didn't know what I didn't know what the vision meant that I had. But it wasn't until a month later, about when I was a month later after that initial vision in January full moon, that I had painted a picture. Actually, there was a woman on the beach who used to paint clothing, and I said, I went over. She had a little campsite there, lived out of her van, and painted clothing to sell at the flea markets. There's a way of getting money. So I said, "Oh, you mind if I paint a picture with you? Do you have an extra shirt?" So she gave me one. And I painted a picture on it, and, well, I won't tell you what the picture, well, I'll tell you, you may have heard me mention the colorful dot picture. Well, I painted the colorful dot picture on the t-shirt. And then it was the night that I painted the colorful dot picture on the shirt. Like, it dried and I left it there, and then I went for another hike up the crater. I used to say, "Oh, I can't keep God waiting. He might be wanting to pick me up and go on the Golden Ship." So I went down to the beach and walked along the shoreline, and then after I got there and was walking along, I looked out at the ocean and distance there and flew right out into the sky. A boat the color of fire just went whoop right up into the air, and then disappeared up in the air. I don't know how it did that. And then I went running up the crater. No one believed me. No one would ever believe that there's such a thing as a golden ship. I tell you, I carried that vision for so long, and no one ever wanted to believe in it. They said, "Oh, it was fairy tale." Well, it may seem like a fairy tale. I remember when I spent the time on it that I told you I went on to it that one night. It seemed like I forgot all about my life on Earth. I didn't realize I had been on Earth at that time. I was on the golden ship and I was away from the Earth. And then it was when I was up there and sailing around on it, I was thinking to myself, gee, I wish I knew how I got here. I couldn't figure out how in the world I got to the golden ship, and it was really confusing me. So I asked someone there, say, is there any way you can show me what I'm doing up here, or why I'm up here? Well, then I had to go back to the Earth, because I had to go continue to live my life to learn about, I guess, the golden ship. I had to become a father. I had to become a grandfather. I had to become a husband. I had to go back and be a son and to my mother and father. And, also one of the things that made me come back is, I saw the disappointment in my family having missed me from being away, and I was like, oh, I can't let that happen. So I decided to come back. Well, it hasn't been without its difficulties, I'll tell you that much. First of all, how am I going to focus on starting a career for myself when I have this whole new mission in life? And now I was on a mission to bring down the golden ship. That became my mission. I think that's what I was told. I had to bring down the golden ship. I had to make the world aware of the golden ship before it could appear, because otherwise no one would know where it came from. Well, I know where it came from. I know how it was created. And it was not created by human effort. It was created by manifestation of the universe coming into structured being. Golden ship was born out of the nothingness with me on it. So you'll have to look into that theory and figure that one out. Wow. Well, you've probably listened to a lot now. Maybe you need a rest. But I will come back tomorrow and tell more stories. I got a lot to talk about. It's been with me a long time, and then just in my physical life here on Earth. But, I remembered all sorts of things in my past when I went up onto it. About it's all about the glory of God. It's to glorify God with the musical angels, because it's not just a golden ship appearing with itself and just being silent. Of course, there's a big musical party going on around the whole thing continually forever. When you get to heaven, you'll hopefully get to go to the domain of the golden ship, where all the musical angels are, be part of the majesty of God, and be part of the celebration. Everyone wants to get to be part of the celebration of